Hello everybody, Isamu Sushi here, and I wanted to make a quick video, well, as quick as I can, complicated stuff, about these Almont Re-Key Padlocks. And they've got a little slot that you can insert a pin to hold all the driver pins in place. And this is Lock Junkie, sent it to me to restore. If you want to see what it looked like, you can check out my mail call video. You can see this is the key he sent me here. And as far as disassembly, all you need to do is cut yourself a duplicate and notch the bottom of it. Now, approximately 17 millimeters from where it stops in the lock down, you'll need to notch it. So you can see here, whoop, wrong stop point. Okay, so about right there, we're a little bit more than 17, but about 17 millimeters down. And you're gonna notch about 2.5 millimeters out of the key. And that's all you need to do right there. Now what that will do is it will bypass that locking lug right there. You can see that pin sticking up. This is the one I ordered for me. So when he sent it to me, I needed to fully disassemble it, throw it in my ultrasonic cleaner, buff it out and everything. But Keybeard did several videos on these and even made his own pinning shoe with the 3D printed files available and the front follower. However, I was having trouble creating an account, confirming my email, so I could not download the files, and I was having a hard time getting them directly from anybody that actually had them. So I said, the hell with it. Started looking on eBay, and I found these original Almont Re-Key tools. And you can see I've got one down here with my stuff loaded in it, and I've added a stair gauge stop to this one. That's just so that when I'm pushing it in, I don't bottom it out in the bottom of the lock and dent the tip of that brass. And basically, from what I can understand, is you're supposed to stack your drivers in here. Then you're supposed to stack your springs in and slide this over so it holds them in place. That way you can insert this into the lock, rotate it to where they line up, and drop everything in. However, every time I've done it, I have snagged springs, and you can see everything on the left. So these 5 here on the left were from Lock Junkies. These 5 on the right were from mine. And all mine look original, but I've got one real ski wampus and one scrunched one on the end. And he's got several scrunched ones, as well as they're not all the same. So a lot of them have already been changed out. So it seems to me that they have a problem with damaging springs. So I had the same problem. Just wanted to kind of go over how I figured out the best way to solve that. Now, what you're going to need is, if you want to disassemble your Almont, you can see the original came with, whoops, am I not zeroed? Oh, I am. Okay, I am. So 1 millimeter is what the original one was. Oh, there you go. So there's your 1 millimeter. That's what's your authentic one. Now, the closest I could get was either on the piano wire, was either just over 1.1716 and just under 0.96. So on Lock Junkies, I figured I'd just make the biggest one that fits, and that was the 1.17, fits in his. However, when I got mine, I found, this is my core here, you can see it will not slide in. It stops right there. So it needs to be under 1 millimeter or under. So get yourself some piano wire and notch yourself your key. And in the very, very back of these, I don't know if you can see it, but there is a pin hole, very, very bottom, where this tool's going to slide in. So when you're going to make your tool, you can insert your unlock key That will bring that notch all the way over to the stack, the Bible stack. And then you can take your wire, insert it in, and then you want to make sure you drop all the way down into the little hole. There's a so make sure you've dropped all the way down into the hole. Then you can bend it straight up at a 90 degree. Make a little, I don't know, little house angles, and then make a loop on the end to lock into the end of that right there. So you can see how the original works. Is you slide it in, and then it will lock into that little hole right there. Hold this top stack. You will lose your shackle when you do this, so I'm holding the shackle in place, but that allows you to pull your or your core out. So I got to get the ball bearing in the right spot. Okay, sorry, I know some of that was off of camera, but I didn't want to do it on this lock. I'll show you on the reassembly on mine. So that's all you got to do to make your wire. You can basically make sure you're all the way down in that hole, bend it parallel to this back of the lock, and then you just got to make a little arc up, arc over, and then an arc in with a loop to latch into that little hole. Then what I have found is I start with my lock. First thing is make sure all 5 springs or 6 springs are in. Second, put your ball bearing in, because that pin is going to lock your slot and hold that in place as well. Then with all your springs and the ball bearing in place, you can take your reload tool, and I've got my 5 driver pins in there. And then what I'm going to do is, you could use the sleeve if you wanted, only I don't really care because the springs are inside. So I'm just going to make sure I'm not dumping it. Slide that all the way in, and then rotate it so that the large slot is lined up. Now, you do need to kind of pull it in and out to get it to line up perfectly. And that's why I think people are ruining the springs when they installed these. And then you just use this tool to push your driver pins down into place. So the tricky spot is to get them all down in and find where you're lined up with your slot so that you can drive those driver pins down in. You can then rotate it to the clockwise position, and you can then pull that out because it's then held up by this core right here. And you can see you have another slot in that core right there to then insert your wire. So you're going to take your wire, insert it in there. I'm going to lock on that little hole right there. Then I'm able to pull this core out, and it is holding everything in there for me, including the ball bearing for that top shackle. So do not forget that. Okay, then you can basically turn that over. It's going to hold your stack. Remember, you got to get your shackle ready to go. Get that in there. I have my core ready to go right here. It's all keyed up with a notched key so that I can rotate it back into the position I need it to. And then all I'm going to do is insert my shackle, drop my ball bearing down in there, and then I can take my core here and insert it down in. And, ooh, I had the shackle in the right spot. So you might have to move the shackle in and out to get the ball bearing in the right spot so the shackle drops all the way down in. Once the shackle drops all the way down in, you can disconnect your wire, turn this back, and then you can see, bada boom, I'm able to lock it up, pull the notched key out, and I am re-keyed. So one thing to keep in mind is whatever you re-key it to, you're going to have a notch on the back to bring it all the way back. Because I always re-key with the, or insert the core with the key in. Other words, if you mess something up, you're SOL unless you can pick it open. So I always make sure that I line the key up and I have a key ready to go. So if you're going to rekey, get yourself some couple notched blanks, and then you can cut whatever the new key is into those notched blanks, and you'll have an install key for your new key. But if you're lucky enough to come across an original reload tool like this here, I highly recommend you leave the springs in the Bible and then insert everything in, or insert the drivers in, and it'll be much better. You won't be losing or ruining your springs, and you'll be good to go. And like I was saying, if you want to make your own, start with 1 millimeter or smaller piano wire. So see, that's that 1.16. Not going to work very well. The 1 point, this is an original here. This is a remake. 0.96, but works just fine on the remakes, and I'll be happy to provide. I don't know if I can give you exact angles on that, but you can always reach out to me on Discord. I respond to pretty much every single comment, no matter what. It may take me a week. Sometimes YouTube doesn't notify me, but I try to watch for everybody and people to have questions, and I'm happy to help with anything I've learned, so that you don't have to make the same mistake and learn the hard way. And that way you guys can make your own wire tool to disassemble your Almont. Maybe put some, you know, security pins. I don't know. Have fun. Key it up to 6 pin. It is available. It is drilled out to 6. And you can see on the reload tools, it is 6. I've got a Yale version of this that's already pinned to 6 pin coming, so I'm hoping the reload tool will work with that as well. That's yet to be seen, but anyway, I hope this helps. I hope you enjoy. Everybody have a great day. Once again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me on Discord or in the comments. I will respond. Promise. Thank you all. I appreciate everybody. Have a wonderful day.